Hey guys, today we are looking at my Ordis hero deck lists. I got a sweet spot for the faction. I love playing aggressively with Sigismar, but also very defensively with Gulrang. And Waru is at the moment a very high skill hero that is not easy to play. Sigismar is currently one of the strongest contestants for the Tumult Championships and is very hard to beat. But it's not as easy as it looks. You have a lot of different builds with or without permanence. Gulrang's defensive capabilities are very strong at the moment, and when you hit that 8 mana spot, you will go to attack mode and your tokens are a force to be reckoned with. Waru is a sleeper pick, and for some a nightmare pick. He has been nerfed a lot, but is still very fun to play. Even now it is one of my favorite heroes. Let's look at the lists. So, let's start with Sigismar. Sigismar is a hero that says at noon create an Ordis Recruit soldier token in your hero expedition. So that means that every day you will start with at least a one stated character in your hero expedition, and that is very strong over the course of the game. So first card I play is the Ordis Attorney, because the deck has very low cost characters, spells and stuff. You play a lot of small things. So being able to have a draw in sometimes with this card is very helpful. You can play this like the last card in your turn to make sure that it draws you something. It does block a Buddha fairly well. You can just see where your opponent is going and play this card. So very helpful, and sometimes drawing you 2 cards is very good. The Ordis Trooper is just a 1 mana 1/2/2, and it's incredible well statted. This card is so very good. Even if you have 1 mana left, you can play this and win a lane by itself. Because you already have a recruit on the hero's expedition side, playing 1 mana, the trooper next to it, you have a 2/3/3 already. Normally your opponent can only win with a 3 mana cost character. Playing as this thing like Attorney on the other side, you will probably have one lane and draw a card in the early turns. This is an all-star card, and I think a must-have for every Sigismar deck. But then I play with Jack Frost. I love the control of this card. The arrow you may exhaust target card in reserve is so good to make sure that your opponents are having somewhat awkward turns. You can lock out the card you're afraid of the most for that turn. Something maybe like a Aklut or something like that. Having the Jack Frost make sure that you have a little bit control over the game, not only playing low-cost characters. This is only a 2 mana as well, so also very efficient. The Ordis Cadets, again, it's a 2 mana card that essentially has a 2/2/1 instead with the token. This common you can switch out for your uniques. Maybe you want to play with charge instead to have 2 bodies to boost them. Maybe your uniques have charge. It's a very easy card with 2 bodies. The Monolith Legate. This is one of the most frustrating cards to play against. I always feel myself, when your expedition doesn't move forward during dusk, you may sabotage after rest. So that means that first every character and card it goes back to the reserve, and then you can choose also from the cards that were on the field. This is a card advantage card that makes sure that you can sabotage anything that didn't have fleeting or that didn't play it. This works very well in combination with Jack Frost. Exhaust the card in reserve first to make sure it stays there. Play the Legate in a expedition you are losing and get rid of it afterwards. It's a very small combo for only 4 mana. This card is making sure you're getting the card advantage, not based on drawing yourself, but removing your opponent ones. The Frog Prince is just a 2-statted 3 water, 3 forest card. Yeah, it's easy in inclusion to make sure that you have sometimes that high stat that you needed in forest, because the trooper doesn't have a high forest, so a little bit of an offset for that as well. If you're playing against the Sigismar, always think if he has 2 mana left, he can put in 3 stats in one of those 2 regions. It's a simple but very good card. I place Osma. If you don't like the cadets being removed from your deck because you have uniques with charge effect or something, you can choose for this Osma effect. If you control 3 or more characters, resupply. I normally play this from my hand when I put 1 or 2 characters from the reserve already, so my reserve is empty. Then I play Osma, making sure that Osma goes back to the reserve and the resupplied card can stay there as well. Just a little bit more options sometimes to have. If you have cadets, you play the cadets, or maybe the Ordis Gatekeeper, playing this next to it, and make sure that you have 3 or more other characters with the Sigismar token as well. So then you only have 1 card needed for the condition to fulfill. So I think this is a very good card still. With the draw, it was much better, but still you have some form of card advantage and get things going. If you got some uniques like myself that are good from hand, but even better from reserve, getting those things resupplied isn't a big deal as well. So that's why I run 3 of the Osma. Other Spy, just like I like the Jack Frost being there. The Other Spy is also a little bit of a reserve control. You can sabotage directly from hand. Otherwise, from hand it's a 3 mana 2-statted. From reserve it's a 2 mana 2-statted. So it isn't that high of a mana cost as well. Specifically with all the other low things we have, I think this is a very good card. Baba Yaga. Yeah, what can I say about this? A turn 1 Baba Yaga makes sure that you draw a card directly and probably winning one of those lanes, because a 3 stat in forest is very high. If you play it next to your recruit, you will get a 4/3/3, so it always wins at least a expedition. I think the only one who can beat Sigismar in the early 1 or 2 days is Bazira with the ability and how it works to make sure that you can 2-0 there. Maybe even a Buddha that is starting the turn. Baba Yaga, just a very good turn 1 play. If you draw it later in the game and you have more mana, you can play this for 3 mana, draw a card, and maybe even play the card you drew as well. From reserve, it's just a 2 mana 3/2, which also is very good, specifically in the forest stat. Making sure you have a 3-statted 2 cost is insane. The mobile armory. I didn't have enough rares to include the mechanic anymore, so I just needed a little bit of small things as well. So I played the mobile armory and 1/1/1 soldier token into an expedition. What can I say? Just a 1 mana 1/1/1. If you are not moving forward with the expedition, the permanent stays on the field. That's not always what you want. But it also can make sure that if you have to play from hand a little bit more because your own reserve is exhausted or maybe being sabotaged and you need to play more from hand, you can play this into a expedition you think you will not win anyway, next to 2 other cards from hand. Get those 2 cards from your hand back to the reserve. This one stays and you don't have to overflow. So you can manipulate this a little bit with the not winning part. So it's just here for another small body. Grand Endeavor. I think this one is very good to close out games. Sometimes maybe a little bit against Muna specifically. Getting there through all those anchored characters is sometimes hard. Getting the Grand Endeavor on the field, make sure that you move at least once every day. So this can close out games. If you are going fast, you only need 1 or 2 expeditions to close out and win the game. Play Grand Endeavor, getting that expedition moved forward even once. You probably lose 2-0 the day you play this. The day afterwards, just put everything on 1, win, try to go 1-1 and move again the next day with this to create a victory maybe. So just try to close out the games. Never keep this in your opening hand. It is really rough to remove because it's tough too. So your opponent almost always have to play like 3, 4, 5 mana to remove it. If you're playing against a Sigismar and they got a Grand Endeavor, sometimes it's a trap to remove it because you are winning 2-0 the day they play this. They will move forward once, so the total score is 2-1. If you are removing this one and completely locked out of the day and they go 2-0 as well, the net score for them is 3-2, and that is very strong. So if these cards get on the field, make sure that if you need to remove it, or you can play around it, because pushing really hard and try to win another round with 2-0, it might sometimes even be better. This card is tough to remove for your opponent, and if it's there, you will make sure that you move every day at least 1 region. For the spells, I got a Rallying Call. If you don't have any low-cost character, you can play the Rallying Call on your Sigismar token. It's just a 1 mana, 1 boost. Sometimes if you have like playing against Muna, or maybe playing against a Fanas with Beauty Sleep, you can play Rallying Call to make sure that it doesn't is asleep anymore. It's a very easy to use card. Sometimes as an after use, sometimes you want to remove your asleep. I think this is a very fair card for 1 mana. Also know that you can play it for 1 mana, go to the reserve and play it from the reserve again. So you have effectively get 2 boost on your token probably. And your opponent needs to play out with a lot of their mana. So if you're playing not against another Sigismar, but with anything else, getting those 1 mana after you effect is really good. So next one up is the Tiny Jail, one of my removal spells. I like the teamwork training a lot, but sometimes you just want to have not that card advantage loss. With the cooldown, this means that if you play this one, it does get to your reserve, but exhausted, and you can send to reserve target character with no statistic over 3. So that means that things like a Bravos Vanguard or other things that are 2/3 or something can get sent back to the reserve. I run 2 because I think that is enough. It just costs a rare slot as well. Also, resupplying this with Osma isn't really bad, just like all the other spells. So I think this is a fairly good removal card. For things that it can't really be removed, like a Aloe Vera, we have still the teamwork training 3 times in our deck. And you can send to reserve target character with hand cost X or less, where X is the number of characters you control. Play this together with a cadets or something, and you can at least remove the Aloe Vera directly. You can even do that at turn 2 already. So if you're playing against a Tasia, for example, and you're playing the Aloe Vera, cadets, teamwork training, and it's gone. It's a very effective early removal strategy, and maybe you can win a 2-0 again because you have the a hero token already there, plus your cadets on the other side, and you are winning 2-0, removing them, denying them their card advantage. So teamwork training is still a really good card in those matchups. And lastly, we have the sticky note seals. With the rise of action being there, Sierra being played a lot, maybe some other things being there as well that are hard to remove with teamwork training or with the tiny gel. We have the option, two of sticky note seals, to make sure that those hives can be removed, or maybe some characters with hand cost 4 or more if you run Everin and Atsadi. So yeah, I think this is still a very handy card, and that's it, I think, for my Sigismar deck. So, Gulrang and Toxin. This hero is very straightforward. The first few turns, when you don't have 8 mana yet, your tokens have Defender, and afterwards they lose Defender, and whenever you create a token character, it gains 1 boost. So that means that all our tokens throughout the game will get 1 boost at least. Yeah, and after the if you get 8 mana, they lose Defender. So it's the first few turns is like building, trying not to lose that much space for your opponent. And as soon as you're at 8, you can actively win expeditions with all of your tokens without a defender blocking you there. And then you get, well, hopefully win some few turns 2-0 as well. So let's look at our game plan. First off, we have the Ordis Attorney. Again, when my expedition fails to move forward during dusk, draw a card. If you place this next to your tokens that have Defender, this will always trigger. If you have a recruit out that is a 2/2/2 with the boost, and you play an attorney next to it, you got a 4/4/4 defender lane of expedition. Yeah, making sure you draw that card, but put on high stats, hopefully to block your opponent there as well. I think that this card is well, easily being used here. Yeah, drawing a card with Gulrang next to a token isn't that hard. So we need to have those draws in because we want to draw a lot of cards to make sure that we can do the right thing at the right time. So having more options to choose from is very helpful. So Attorney is for me always a keep in my opening hand. The Ordis Trooper. In the current meta, there is being played a lot of 1-cost cards. So sometimes just to play this Trooper to give the turn back to your opponent to see where we need to put on our blockers or our defender tokens is just a very good strategy. So a low-cost Ordis Trooper here, just a common one, can sometimes be enough. Because this isn't a token, it doesn't have defender. So playing this in an open lane can win you the expedition as well. So you don't have to wait for you to have 8 mana. The deck has few characters that aren't defending, but if you draw them simultaneously, you can still win that lane. For Gulrang, it's hard to stabilize in the very few turns against some of the most aggressive decks like Sigismar, like Gojo. So sometimes if you be able to stand down and win an expedition as well, you're in a good spot already. So after, if you have 8 mana, you don't have well, that gap to close. The gap you want to close isn't too big. Trooper helps that. The Ordis Overseer. With Gulrang, the token it spawns is a 2/2/2. So for 2 mana, you're already getting a 3/3/4, which is big stats here. Just make sure that your expedition is behind. From reserve, it also have the from anywhere effect, but you can also choose to only use it as a support ability to create that 2/2 token. It's a free action. It doesn't cost you any mana as well. Sometimes that is more beneficial. But again, if you have something out like a legate or maybe an attorney already, this one on the other side of next to it will make sure you have the defender there and can use one of those abilities for sure, unless you have, of course, more than 8 mana. A very solid card, a very hard stat stick. Yeah, it's in common very good. Then we have Chrysalis. Again, just a 2-statted 2 mana defender character. As soon as this card leaves the expedition zone, create a mana moth 2 illusion statted token in my expedition. Also, the mana moth will get the boost from the Gulrang. So as soon as this leaves the expedition, get a 3/3/3 already for the next day. I like this card very much because it leaves something on the battlefield. We are trying to defend as much as we can in the first few turns. So having that token, being there already, makes sure we can try and defend both our expeditions at once. So getting a 0/0 win, so nobody wins an expedition, is a win for us. So creating the token there is nice. If you have already 8 mana, a free 3/3/3 character on the next turn, it's great as well. You can even use its support ability to exhaust the target card in reserve. I do not use that a lot, I must say, because the token it creates is just so good. But yeah, you can have the option if you need to. Here, the Monolith Legate, again, just like the Attorney, if you play this next to a token with Defender, you will always get this off. It doesn't have a sleep then, so you will can get those stats and block your opponent. So with one token, you get a 2 mana 4/3/4 on that side. Yeah, it's very good to make sure that the Legate will trigger, and I think that's one of the most important things at the start. So trying to get that card advantage from the start for you. That does mean your opponent has less options as well, so it's very good in the early game. Sunisia, dedicated ensign. It's here. If you play this on turn 1, you can create from anywhere a Ordis Recruit token as well. That is always a 2/2/2. If your expedition is behind, defender characters don't prevent it from moving forward. It's very good in the late game as well. If you want to get back to make sure that your opponent doesn't get too far behind, playing this there, still be able to win the expedition, be able hopefully to block the other one and getting a 1/0. It's very, very helpful as well. You can play the token in any expedition, so you can put it in your Sunisa expedition or maybe on the other side. It's very versatile. And I think this is one of the best rares for this deck. Up next, we got a solo copy of Baba Yaga. It's a 3/2 draw a card. We want to draw a card. This also doesn't have defender, which helps a lot. If you have if you don't like the Sunisa, or maybe you want less field reinforcements, you can choose to put up the number of Baba Yaga, because this one having 3 off is also very good. But yeah, I could only have 15 rares, so that's why I don't have more. But this one's just drawing a card, can win you expedition also on turn 1. Maybe this isn't the best thing to play on turn 1, because you want to be a little bit behind to make sure that all your other cards are activated. Winning with this card on turn 1 is making you be in a rough spot. That's also why I don't have chosen for this one over the field reinforcements, because I think that one is better. The mobile armory, I have one of the common version and two of the rare versions. The common version just creates a token, and the rare version also says defender characters don't prevent my expedition from moving forward. If you are having 8 or more mana, the yellow text here doesn't do anything more than the common. So drawing this early game is very good. Drawing in the late game means you draw just another common. That's why I chose for 2 versus 1. Well, it's just a 1 mana create a 2/2 because the Gulrang will boost the token we create here. Yeah, with mobile armory there, all defender characters get turned off, and you can actually move forward. Sometimes you want to close out the gap with mobile armory to make sure that your opponent isn't getting anywhere. Sometimes you just want to block your opponent, and that's also fine with that token. A very good card for Gulrang. It's also a little bit of a mini after you play this, you get a 2/2 token, and your opponent needs to go again. Just to make sure, you will only get the mobile armory back into reserve if you're actually winning an expedition. With the way Gulrang is playing before 8 mana, that means sometimes you can play this, you are not moving forward yourself, and this stays there forever. So just note that sometimes you lose a little bit of a card advantage here, because you can't get this one back from your expedition to the reserve, and that's sometimes very frustrating. Then I play 3 copies of the Ordis Carrier. At noon, create an Ordis Recruit Soldier token in your companion expedition. Playing this on turn 1, make sure you at least get a 2 statted soldier every turn. Yeah, just blocking for Infinity, of course, because it does have Defender until you have 8 mana. I think this is a very good turn 1 card, getting a little bit of the defensive power up and running. Yeah, so late game it might not be that good, so it probably will go to the mana, but if you draw it on your opening hand, you can play it. Well, your opponent probably goes 2-0, but we don't really care, because we have cards that cares about being behind. I think it's really good. Then we got Hypothermia. Each player chooses a character they control, it gains a sleep. Sometimes when things aren't going our way, we want to sleep something. If your opponent is playing a card, we play this from hand. This is a 1 mana after you that makes sure that they at least get something asleep. If you have the Ordis Carrier already there, we can sleep our token that we created anyway. It's very versatile. It's making sure your opponent is also a little bit slowed down, but that's fine, because we are making sure that we are getting closer and closer to the 8 mana, and that will be our first priority. So just here to control a little bit of the game. Rallying Call. Sometimes we use the Hypothermia and we want our character not to be asleep anymore. We can give it a boost and loses it asleep. Sometimes we try to win in the end game against an Ephanos or an Izmir player or a Muna player, and those beauty sleeps are getting in. We make sure that we don't lose based on that one as well. So it's just a 1 mana 1 boost. And making sure we don't get asleep on turns where we need to go 2-0. This is a very versatile card as well. If you have the Ordis Carrier out, if the carrier is there, the token, you can just boost it, and if it's your turn to start, let the opponent start. So I think this card is very versatile as well. Shield Reinforcements. This one also draws you a card for 2 mana and can create an Ordis Recruit Soldier token in target expedition. And if you are behind or tied, you can choose both. So 2 mana, draw a card, creating a 2/2 is of course very good. yeah, because it has cooldown, it goes back to your reserve, and you can play it again. And the next day, maybe drawing you another card and getting that recruit in again, because we have a really big need to make sure that we can survive. We need to draw a lot of cards and getting something on the field while doing it. This card is doing that for us. So if we are tied or behind, we can play the recruit token. It probably has defender in the early turns, so it doesn't make you go forward as well. So we are staying behind or tied, making sure that the next day you can play this for both things guaranteed as well. Be able to draw 2 cards is why I put in 3 instead of the Baba Yaga. That one can only draw 1 card from hand. I think this is a very, very solid card for Gulrang to have. Teamwork training. Sent to reserve target checked with hand cost 3 or less, where X is the number of characters you control. We can play with the carrier, with the Chrysalis, so we have sometimes already something on the field. Things like the Overseer can create us 2 tokens. If we are a little bit later in the game and we try to get stabilized and to getting some control, teamwork training is a common slot that makes sure we can remove some of the characters. Because our tokens are boosted as well, it means we have a little bit more mana value on the field. So if we have 1 or 2 tokens out, we can probably make sure we defend that expedition as well. For bigger targets, sticky note seals, I think we don't want hives up, we don't want any other bigger characters there. Making sure we are not losing by those things is very helpful as well. With this golden deck, we are trying to get control in the early game, getting not too far behind. Sometimes with Sunisa and the mobile armory, still getting those expeditions forward when we want to. Make sure that you don't lose the tide or behind for the field reinforcements, because if you're ever somewhere in front in the early game, field reinforcements and also the Overseer are really hard to play. So you're cancelling out your own cards. That would be really a waste. So this is my golden deck. Try it out and let me know. So next up is Waru mech, and whenever you play a bureaucrat, it gains a sleep. Of course, Waru has been nerfed significantly, which is sad. You can't choose anymore to give it a sleep or not, and you also don't get a token if you control a slap bureaucrat at noon. I do think it's really hard to pilot Waru at the moment, even if you have some really insane uniques, like whenever you create a non-token character, create a token or draw 3 cards at dusk or at hand or from anywhere. Even then, this deck is really hard to pilot. You are still able to win, even against a Sigismar. You can put down a lot of pressure with your cards to make sure that you can win. But it's really hard at the moment to play this deck. Hopefully in set 3 we get a little bit of more cards to upgrade the strength and to making sure that sleeping bureaucrats is worthwhile. So let's dive into the deck. Ordis Attorney, it's a bureaucrat. You play this for 2 and you will draw a card because it will be asleep once. The next turn, if you have it still there and you are not winning the expedition, you will draw another card. We want to draw a lot of cards to make sure that we can play a lot of things simultaneously next to each other as well, and we're making sure that while we are drawing cards, we can sometimes also play cheap things there. Ordis Overseer, I have here a split one of the common and two of the rare ones. The common says if I'm behind, create an Ordis recruit token, and also has a support ability. If we look at the rare, you don't only get a token, but you get a token per bureaucrat. So if you have a really a good turn, you can, I think, get 3 tokens there as well, because you can have 1 or 2 being slapped from the next day. Maybe you play this last in your day as well, next to 1 or 2 other bureaucrats. So getting those tokens out is really there. What I like about this card as well is, even though this card itself is a bureaucrat and it will get to sleep, the tokens you create will not be asleep. So you are actually trying to do something actively in the day. Playing this with 2 mana, hopefully 2 or 3 or 4 bureaucrats already out. Playing this into it, if you get 4 tokens, it's really good for 2 mana 4/4 already in this day, and the next day, of course, it stays there. The support ability is very, very handy as well, because sometimes you just need something with power that is not asleep. And even if it's only a recruit token, it's just a free 1 stat on the board as well. The Ordis Night Warden, as soon as it gets asleep, it gains 1 boost. I think this is, if you play this for 2 mana, you get a 3/3/3 as well, because Waru will let him sleep, instantly triggering the boost. Just a solid common to have. If you play this with Hypothermia, you can make sure this one stays again one day in the night, triggering another boost. It's easy to make sure this is stays there for a lot of times with some actually high value there. The Monolith Legate, just like the Overseer, I got a 1/2 a common rare distribution. It's a bureaucrat. If you play this on the field, it will get asleep, and you will probably sabotage after rest. It's a very good card, also very annoying for your opponent if it stays there on the board, making sure that you can sabotage 2 cards, getting those card advantage in. It's very very handy. And I also run the rare twice, just for the extra mountain stat, but more importantly the support ability. Because Legate is a bureaucrat, it will always be asleep in the expedition. Using its support ability, you can choose to have that 1/1 recruit token there instead of the Legate. You're not spending mana, you got something on the expedition, and I think that is very valuable to have and be able to choose whether you want it or not. Ordis Spy, one of the few cards that isn't a bureaucrat, so it doesn't gain a sleep when you play it. You can sabotage directly, hopefully also surprising your opponent by winning something directly. I think this is a very, very easy inclusion as a common card. Then again, the Baba Yaga, a 3/2, 3/2 with hand draw a card. Again, one of the few other characters that isn't a bureaucrat that you can actively play and be on the board. Drawing you a card, hopefully getting your card advantage in as well, because card draw is here very important, that you have always at least something to play that isn't going asleep. My last character is Isitok. It's the common version because Sigismar is going rampant at the moment. With those tiny jails, Isitok rare becomes a 5 mana 3/3/3, which would be great in all matchups except against Sigismar or the Ordis Mirror. Tiny Jail is there too good to get it removed for only 2 mana, so that's why I run the common twice. It's a bureaucrat, so we'll get a sleep, so you make sure that the expedition, the other expedition and the other expedition facing it can move forward twice in a row. well, at the first day this will be asleep, so it doesn't have stats on its own, but afterwards it's just a 4-statted bureaucrat on the field being there. If it goes to the reserve, you can even use the support ability to draw a card. It's either way a very good card, and making sure that we sometimes can recover from those rough starts. Then for our permanents, I run 3 mobile armories to create just a 1/1 token in the expedition for 1 mana only. It's a little bit of an after you effect to make sure to see what your opponent is doing, where they are playing, to make sure that you sometimes staying tight or behind on the expedition you want to, but also you can win a expedition with this card because the token doesn't get any sleep. With a turn 1 play, you can play something for 2 mana and also for 1 mana, so that helps also the mana distribution a little bit. Overall, it's just a good card. You could run the Ordis Trooper as well, but I like this card being there as well, because sometimes we have a lot of bureaucrats that are asleep from the next day, still being there, that go back to the reserve. If you play this one and not winning the expedition, but maybe tying it or something, it stays on the board and doesn't overflow your reserve. If you play the trooper, well, it would get back to the reserve, and then you will overflow and need to discard something. So that's why I choose for the expedition permanent. So you can be able to make sure, if you want to let it stay on the board. Bountiful Meadow. I have to, if you tap this card, the next bureaucrat you play this turn costs 1 less. Also, making sure that you are playing with your mana efficiently, with all the 2 mana cost bureaucrats we got. Weaving in this card, sometimes you can play like 5 mana 3 bureaucrats, because you have one meadow there. If you play 2 Bountiful Meadows, you can tap them both, making sure like things like the Overseer of the Attorney are free, even you're playing a card for free, letting your opponent semi after you is also very, very nice, to make sure that you can see a lot of more if what your opponent is doing, to try to counter their plays as well. Lastly, the Icebound Lake. Sometimes we just need a turn to make sure that we are winning 2-0. When you play a character, if expedition is behind, it gains a trial counter. If you got 3 counters, sacrifice it and create a 5-statted dragon token, and then target character gains a sleep. Sometimes you want to target yourself. If you have some good uniques that are drawing at dusk for 3, maybe you can target your own character, making sure that it's there still for another day. Sometimes you can put something into sleep, and afterwards are a rallying call them to make sure they get anchored with the rare version. So it's also it's very good. If you are playing this at turn 1, you will make sure that your expeditions will be behind, and everywhere you play a character from there is triggering this Icebound Lake. I think this is a very good card in this deck, making sure you can win sometimes. 2-0 is very important here. Just like I said, the rallying call, we play the rare version. It's up to 1 mana, but if we lose a sleep, we gains anchored. And I think this is a very necessary card to make sure that everything we are playing for our bureaucrats, they will get a sleep. So we have almost always something that is asleep, and giving it anchored and a boost, making sure that they will count for the expedition round today and for the day afterwards with 1 more boost. It's very good. Also, again, if we are playing against a Sigismar Izmir or Muna opponent and they play Beauty Sleep, we can get ourselves even further ahead, because it won't be asleep, it's even anchored. So again, with the Icebound Lake, you can sleep something to make sure that it gains anchored as well. It combos off very nicely with the Night Warden. So if we are playing the Night Warden from the next day that was still in play, it gains a sleep, get a boost. Well, afterwards it stays awake. We play something else, boost, let it sleep by the lake. It will have 2 boosts. We play this, it gets 3 boosts plus anchored, and it's and if you get the Drake and the Night Warden, you got 5 statted characters on both sides, and it's very good. So those things we are trying to combo as well there. I do think without Rallying Call in the rare version, Waru isn't playable at all. So please, if you don't have this card, don't play Waru, because I think this is one of the most important cards in the deck. Hypothermia. Well, we already are playing our characters with a lot of sleep, so you can choose a character that is on the field already, that already has a sleep. So sometimes you want to make sure that those Night Wardens again stays asleep, getting a little bit bigger. Maybe you have some good uniques that you want to make sure they stay asleep. The Legates, the Attorneys, drawing and sabotaging as well, getting those things well asleep for another round. Well, making sure you get that card advantage up early game is also very good. Maybe getting that Isotok there as well, making sure that you have full control on well, the other side, and only losing 1-0 every turn instead of maybe 2-0. So this is very, very versatile. Also, Hypothermia with Rallying Call, making sure you can sleep something to get it a boost. And Anchored is also very, very disgusting for your opponent sometimes. Common Tiny Jail. Sometimes you just need to remove something. It's well, it's really, really good. Field Reinforcements. I choose to play 2 of those. Specifically on turn 1, it's hard to not well to win a turn, because everything we can play is asleep. If you're playing Field Reinforcements, you can draw a card and create a token. The token is of course not asleep. It helps us getting there and cycling into our deck. Sometimes I think I want to upgrade this to the rare and use the Legate as a common. That is also very valuable, I think. But for now, I do really like the Legate being there and getting the token out. But if you don't like the rare Legate, please you can up Field Reinforcements, yeah, to make sure that you have not fleeting, but a cooldown on this card. Getting a card, creating a token is always very good, and with Waru, you are probably always behind or tied at least. And again, the last card, Sticky Note Seals. Sometimes you need to just remove a little bit of a big character or permanent. With this card, we make sure that we are be able to. In the current meta, it might not be that relevant, but if we do face something and you don't have an answer for it, then well, you probably lose anyway. So having this card here, you can play it into the mana if we don't need it. I think it's a very fair card for now. So that is my Waru deck. It's like first few turns you want to play out your permanent Bountiful Meadow or your Icebound Lakes to make sure that we are a little bit setting up our later turns. Attorney Legates are very helpful at the start to making sure we can get and create the card advantage. Also helping with the card advantage. Order Spy and the Baba Yaga is also there to make sure that we're drawing and sabotaging a lot. Orders Overseer is a very good card in the mid game when we have already 2 charities on the field. Maybe played some other Bureau card as well. Then playing the Overseer and you have spontaneously 4 tokens on the field, trying to get up in the day. Rallying Call, MVP, making sure that characters we are having length slept, getting anchored. We can even sometimes combo this with the Icebound Lake, making sure that our dragon token get a sleep, Rallying Call it, and we have a 6 statted anchored dragon as well, being there for 2 days. Very, very helpful. So Hypothermia, making sure your other bureaucrat stays asleep, like Isotok, Attorney, Legate. I think this is a very good.
Thanks for watching the extensive Ordis deck guide. Hopefully this helps you battle the upcoming Tumult Championship. Maybe winning with one of the Ordis heroes or playing against them. If you like the content, let me know in the comments below or hit that like or subscribe button. I'm the Bravos Header and I hope to see you soon.